Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're here to discuss Arsenal's 0-0 draw last night with Newcastle United in the Premier League, which on the face of it might not look like a terrible result in the way that we have gained a point, we've stopped Newcastle from winning, and we now go 8 points clear of the top of the Premier League table. On the other hand, last night really did show where Arsenal are currently lacking in their squad, where they're lacking in depth, where they're lacking in ideas. And basically we need to discuss where Arsenal need to improve, where Arsenal need to deep into the transfer market to improve their squad, because if they're going to challenge for the title, if they're going to challenge for the Europa League or anything else this season, then they're going to need a better squad than what they currently have at the moment. But I think the first thing we need to get into is the actual draw itself. A 0-0 in Newcastle, and with this Newcastle United in particular, is not a terrible result. Newcastle have been very, very good this season. You know, they've only lost one game this season, just like us, and that was a last-minute winner against Liverpool at Anfield. They've been defensively solid. They've frustrated teams. They've scored a bag full of goals, and they're shooing for Champions League qualification next season. They're going to be right up there until the very end of the season, challenging for it alongside Manchester United and Liverpool and whoever else is among the race, Tottenham possibly as well. But we have to sit here and realise that Newcastle last night, they weren't good at all. They weren't good at all. Defensively, they were good, but attack-wise, they were terrible. They were time wasting the whole time as well. I can't believe there was only 5 minutes additional time as well. There should have been more than 5 minutes, but that's not up for us to decide. That's up for them, the officials, to tell you that. And it was just a frustrating evening for us. And what was the most frustrating thing is we are currently in a situation where we don't have a squad. Let's be frank and honest about it right now. We brought on one sub last night, and it was Tomiyasu for Ben White. We brought on a right back for a right back. You know, like, what does that tell you about the squad at the moment? Martinelli and Saka, they were trying, but they weren't as convincing as they could have been on other nights. You think Nketiah looked sharp enough, but he only got one real chance away. Odegaard was, you know, he was just quiet, to be honest with you. By his standards, he was shut out of the game. I thought our midfield played well. I thought Xhaka and Partey played fierce well. And I thought our defence was very, very good as well. In particular, Gabriel, who's really stood up the last number of weeks and shown why he is our leading centre-back at the moment. Saliba's been a bit shaky at times. I don't even think Saliba had that bad of a game last night. I mean, it's a clean sheet at the end of the day, and he was going up against a difficult opposition, you know. But I just think we need more. We had Fabio Vieira on the bench last night and we didn't even bring him on. It just shows that he's maybe not fully ready yet. Now, I would have brought him on, but that's up for Mikel to tell you. And that's why we need to go into the transfer market. Jesus is not going to be back for a number of weeks. Smith Rowe, I have heard today that he's in line to start against Oxford next week, which is crucial, which is huge. And I can't wait to see him back playing, because he is a fantastic player. And if he can reproduce anything near to what he did last season, then we've got a real good player in our hands. It'd be like a new signing all over again. But Arsenal need to deep into the transfer market. We need to get Mudryk over the line. That it showed last night that we needed another option. We needed something different. Mudryk can be that something different. Like, people will say it's a lot of money, it's this, that, or whatever. At this stage, we just got to pay the money. At this stage, the transfer market is ruined anyways. You look at players like Anthony, who went to Manchester United. That's why Shakhtar are asking for a lot of money, because they believe Anthony is not as good a player as Mudryk, and Anthony went for around £86 million. And you think we've signed players in the past like Nicolas Pepe, who turned out to be average enough for us. You think Chelsea signed Lukaku for around 100 million last year, and like, he's currently back in Serie A with Inter Milan and had a very, very poor World Cup. So, like, I can understand where Shakhtar are coming from. And I can see where we're coming from to an extent, saying that we can't be spending that money on, you know, that type of player, I suppose. But at the end of the day, if we're going to win the title, if we're going to challenge for it, then we need to just get our finger out and just sign him. We need to get it over the line. We need to not worry about fees or anything like this. We just need to sign him and get it over the line so we can have him for the next number of games. Otherwise, we're going to start falling behind, because we won't have that strength and depth. And you think with the games we have coming up, we have Tottenham coming up, we have Manchester United coming up, we have Everton coming up, we've Manchester City coming up soon. So like, and we're going to be back in European action shortly enough as well. We do need reinforcements. And even João Felix, I'm not the biggest fan of João Felix. I don't think he's that great. I think we can get better. But at this stage, we need players. We do need attacking options. We need something different. And who knows, maybe Felix could actually thrive under Mikel Arteta. You've seen what he's done with Martin Odegaard. You've seen how he's transformed Gabriel Martinelli at the moment. You see what he's turned Xhaka into. You see what Saliba's like now. So maybe he could actually do something with Felix. But we need every player that we can get at the moment. We need every single player that we can get at the moment. Because I was saying last night, defensively, I thought we were really solid. I thought Zinchenko had a good game. I thought Ben White had a good game. Ramsdale didn't really have anything to do. You know, like I said, Gabriel and Saliba were good. Our midfield was compact and solid. But just going forward, and I know people are going to say we're maybe overreacting, we're this or whatever. I saw Mark Goldbridge's video this morning saying, you know, are Arsenal in crisis, whatever. We're not in crisis. Look, we didn't lose the game, first off. We did not lose the game. We also had 2 penalty calls that weren't given. The handball one you could maybe excuse. I think when Gabriel was pulled down, though, you can't excuse that. That should have been a penalty. I do agree on that. That should have been a penalty. And I won't hear any different. It should have been a penalty. And I don't think I thought the referee had a very, very poor game last night. Like, I thought Andy Madley had a very, very poor game last night. He was just dishing out yellow cards left, right and centre. Newcastle were time wasting the whole time. I thought he had no control over that game whatsoever, but we can't be using the referee as an excuse. We really can't. He's not the reason. He's not the full reason why we didn't win last night. We did not win that game last night because we weren't good enough. We weren't sharp in attack. We didn't look convincing at all. And even if we had won that game last night with a penalty, I know you need luck throughout a season, but it was a real 50-50 game. I don't think any team really deserved to win that game last night, to be honest, being honest with you now. And look, it isn't the worst result. City do have to play Chelsea. They have to play Tottenham twice in a couple of weeks. They have to play Manchester United away, who are currently chasing top 4. And at this stage, they're 9 points behind us, so who knows what could happen. And we have gained a point. But just with the way the season's going, and you know, if this was years ago, I would have said it's a great point. We move on. We move on to the next game. But with City, you just can't do it. You can't drop points when you're in a title race with Manchester City. They are a different animal altogether. They will come back. They have the players to come back. They have the squad to come back. Julian Alvarez is now back for them. Erling Haaland scoring goals for fun. They've Riyad Mahrez. They've, as much as I don't like him, they have Jack Grealish. They have, you know, Kevin De Bruyne, who's, you know, best midfielder in the world, arguably. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have all these players. Gundogan, who can just turn a game around in a second. So every point we get is extremely valuable, but we need to be sharper in front of goal if we're going to win these games. Tottenham will win a couple of weeks. People will say Tottenham are this at the moment, Tottenham are that at the moment. Tottenham are still Tottenham. They beat us 3-0 away there last season. We have not won at Tottenham since 2014 in the league. We beat them in 2015, but that was the Capital One Cup. We're not going to worry about that. But the 2 Flamini goals. But like, we've beat them in the Premier League once since 2013. Once. And even that season they had Tim Sherwood at the helm. So does that even count to an extent? Like, do you know what I mean? So we need to go there and we need to be as sharp as we possibly can. We need to beat them this time. They're a very poor team. They're at the moment they're all over the place. Saying that, they could go to Crystal Palace tonight and beat them. They genuinely could. Like, they still have some really, really good players and they still have a fantastic manager. But we have to beat them. And then Man United are coming. Sure, Man United, you see what they're like at the moment. People will say they've only beaten this team, they've only beaten that team. They've won their last 3 games. Manchester United have won their last 3 games since the World Cup break. And they're playing some really, really nice football. They scored 7 goals in the last 3 games. They've grinded out results. Casemiro at the moment is playing really, really well. So we are going to have to really get sharper for the goal. And we're going to need to bring players in. If we're going to win the Premier League, we need to bring players in. It's as simple as that. I suppose there's not much more than I could say about that. Anyways, that is the end of the video anyways, guys. Thanks very much. It was just a quick roundup of the game. I'm going to start doing a new series on the channel where I'm going to review more Premier League games. I'm going to do a weekly Premier League review, which will be out hopefully maybe Thursday after the Man City-Chelsea game, maybe Friday or something like that. So yeah, but I might do the Arsenal one separately just so I can keep my head intact, I suppose. But yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new around here. Like the video. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.